35 years old is the age that you guys start to work with. What is it about 35 years old? Is it the fact that perhaps when you're younger, your body can bounce back a bit more from some of these different things? Or is it also the mindset thing that at 35 people are much more likely to be proactive and engage with their health? Or different lifestyle circumstances?
Yeah, I do think it's both. And we do actually see people starting to come to us in their late 20s, I would say sort of 27, 28, and then it ramps up from there. And certainly 30s and 40s is when we see a lot of people coming to us and through their 50s, etc. And I think why that is partly physiological and partly psychological. So physiologically, there are things that are starting to actually change in your body in your late 20s and onwards that start to show up in these different symptoms that we're talking about. So hormone levels start to change, brain function starts to change. And these are things you can actually track. And obviously we do track, and we see this in the biomarkers of people at different stages of life. So you go from this steady state, or this, even when you're in your early 20s, this state of growth and improvement, to passing the point physiologically where you start to head into different areas of decline. And that means that people are now feeling things in their bodies and seeing things in their bodies that they haven't had to pay attention to before. And I think that coincides psychologically with just a different stage of life where people are, out of that period in the early 20s of kind of exploration and fun and finding out who they are, and now are a little bit more grounded on what they care about in life, often have more responsibilities, often, feel like particularly as they head into their 30s and 40s, that life is getting more intense, it's getting richer, it's getting heavier, but it also requires you to continue to show up at your best in ways that you haven't really had to care about before. So those two things colliding create this really interesting tipping point where suddenly you start, certainly this was the case for me, suddenly you go to a dinner party in your mid-30s and all anyone wants to talk about is these sort of topics. It's like overnight, everyone's just suddenly thinking about what's happening with their health and thinking about longevity in a way they never did before.